Flower Garden Banks by Andrew Earson and Matt Rosenstein.
Although some fishermen knew about and named the Flower Garden Banks before its official discovery, it was not recorded professionally until 1936. In the 1950s, researchers realized that the salt domes presented covered oil deposits, which would destroy the ecosystem if disturbed. Salt domes are formed when salt deposits layered across the bottom of the ocean are inflated by oil, which is less dense than water. The oil underneath the salt wants to reach the surface and rise from the ground, but does not penetrate the salt, creating a bubble of sorts.
Flower Garden Banks National Marine Sanctuary is actually composed of three separate areas: West Flower Garden Bank, East Flower Garden Bank, and Stetson Bank. The three separate banks are each salt dome formations. These domes can reach heights of just a few feet below the surface of the water. Over 10,000 years ago, corals began forming on top of the domes. Domes even 30 miles apart can have vastly different ecosystems because they are so distant from the bedrock, and slight temperature and depth differences create very different communities.
In the late 60s, the Flower Gardens Ocean Research Center was established, and the government decided that the area needed to be protected from boats anchoring on the domes, potential oil drilling, and protected reefs and wildlife being disturbed. January 17, 1992, the East and West Domes were officially given a sanctuary designation and protected by the National Marine Sanctuary branch of NOAA.
There are many species coexisting in the banks, including sponges, cnidarians, crustaceans, jellyfish, manta rays, whale sharks, sea turtles, and hundreds more. Lionfish have also invaded these reefs.
The communities here are very different than any other reef system in the Gulf of Mexico, with fish reaching the size of 10 times that of what has been seen in other places because of its isolated location. Very deep water surrounds the salt domes, essentially closing off the ecosystem to outside inhabitants, making this area very biodiverse.
The Flower Garden Banks Sanctuary is located 115 miles from the Texas-Louisiana border. The east and west banks are 12 miles apart, 30 miles from Stetson Bank. The total area protected is 56.21 square miles, broken up into the three sections. West Flower Garden Bank is protected from the surface down to 443 feet, east descends to 476 feet deep, and Stetson reaches down to 194 feet below the surface. There is no evidence of submerged archaeological findings in the reef, possibly because of the way the domes formed, and because the protected areas do not reach all the way to the bottom of the ocean.
There are many challenges with protecting an underwater sanctuary. Mooring buoys prevent ships from dropping anchor and allow for a better alternative for boats stopping to visit the banks. Vessels less than 100 feet in length can tie up to the mooring buoys. Diving and traditional hook and line fishing are both legal and even encouraged. There are many plans and systems in place should a hazardous incident occur, from everything from oil spills to a large ship anchoring at the banks. The Flower Garden Bank's remote location is a big challenge for protecting and preserving the sanctuary. Reliable fishermen and dive operators keep a watchful eye, and the Coast Guard also makes sure everything at the banks is running smoothly. Hey guys, thank you for checking out our project. Have a good night.